Big Daddy here, and today we're going to have a different type video. So today we're going to do an unboxing video, and to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of unboxing videos, but I am super excited to get this, and I figured I'd share it with you. So to begin, my Logitech G502, which is a mouse I love, is starting to give up the ghost. So it's starting to double click. It's starting to grab things it shouldn't. When you select things, it'll select more than what it should. So it's starting to have issues. All right. So again, I love that mouse, but I figured I would do some more research on gaming mice and see what was out there. And there isn't a review or a video or a web page that when you talk about gaming mice that doesn't mention Zowie. So I figured hey, let me give it another look. And, you know, my good friend there, Ryan Das Geek, also recommended I get the Zowie. Now, I don't always take Ryan's recommendations, because sometimes, but he did recommend the Zowie, and I'm glad he did, because I did purchase the Zowie EC2-B. Now, there are many lines of Zowie out there. They have the ZA line, they have the FK line, and they have the EC2 line. In each line, they have 3 or 4 different types of mice. So you have the ZA11, 12, and 13. You have the EC2A, you have the EC2B. I could go on and on about how many different mice they have. They all, with an exception or two, they all are pretty much the same mice hardware-wise, but it's the subtle differences in how big they are, maybe the shape or the height of one of them. Today, we're going to look at the Zowie EC2-B. Now, Zowie is noted for not being very flashy. As you can see, this is not the a premium package here. It's just a box with a mouse in it. And you know what? I'm perfectly okay with that. It's what's inside that matters. So, I already opened this with my knife, but I'll probably need a knife for inside. So, we don't need the box no more. We see the non-flashy box. Now, inside it comes with a Zowie EC2-B mouse. Who would have thought? Alright, so I'll be right back, get my knife, cut these, and we'll be off. Okay, we're back. Faster than I thought, huh? Okay, so in here, you take this generic piece of plastic off and get rid of that, because we don't need that no more. You have your mouse, which we will go over in a second. You have your Zowie Gaming thank you card for buying a Zowie mouse. Thank you, Zowie, for including a thank you card. You have your pack with a Zowie logo and a couple extra feet for it. We'll get back to the feet in a second. And you also have a Zowie user guide. Does anybody read the user guide? Just asking. Get rid of that. So, again, we come back to the feet. And why this is important is because on certain Zowie mice, including the EC2A, you have a larger footprint. Like one large footprint here and a large footprint here. Now, that's okay, but this particular mouse, they have 4 smaller footprints. Now, I don't know how that will play out in the actual gaming of a mice. I mean, I did watch a lot of things on the feet itself to say that they really didn't tell a difference, but we'll see what happens. Also on the back, you have a button to change the refresh rate, and you have 3 different refresh rates to change it to. You also have a DPI button. The DPI can be changed from 400, 800, 16, and 3200. On the front of the mouse, It's a non-flashy mouse. But again, like I said, it's what's inside that matters. So, the EC2-A has a 3310 sensor. The difference between the EC2-A and the EC2-B is that the EC2-B has a 3360 sensor. How much that matters? I don't know. From what I can gather from all of the information that I've looked at, it doesn't really matter in regular gameplay. There is one issue where you flick the mouse and the 3360 sensor is supposed to be better. But seeing as how they were the same price, why not go with the EC2-B with the 3360 sensor? Alright, so one other difference between the EC2-A and the EC2-B is the fact that the EC2-A has a lit scroll wheel. So it would light up, which I have the G502 which lights up with the G logo. But it really doesn't matter because I mean, it's really just for aesthetics because it's not like you see it. I have my palm over it the whole time. The scroll wheel actually might be annoying if it was lit. I don't know. I am perfectly fine with the black scroll wheel. All right. So for the cord itself, it is a long cord and I don't know exactly the length of it. Forgive me for that. But it is a different cord than I'm used to. So the Logitech G502 has a braided cord, and this one has more of a rubber type feel to it. Now, it does feel more flimsy than the braided cord, but I don't think that's going to matter in the long run unless you're going to like throw it under your chair and run over with your wheels. So this comes with 4 buttons. Now, the other line of Zowie mice, the FK and the ZA, all are ambidextrous mice. So it can go left-handed or right-handed, which means they have thumb buttons on the left, and they also have thumb buttons on the right. I was very concerned that I might hit those buttons on the right-hand side because I am right-handed, and depending on the size of your hand, the shape of the mouse, I was afraid I was going to hit those buttons by accident, and I didn't want to take the chance. So that's why I got the EC2-B, because it does not have the buttons on the right-hand side. So the thumb buttons are actually in a pretty good place for me. Now, my hand is about 7 inches, 7.2 inches, something like that. So when I hold this mouse, and this is actually like the first time I'm holding it, it feels pretty good. Maybe on the smaller side than what I'm used to, but it feels pretty good. Now, it does have a plastic feel to it, so I'm not sure if that's going to make it slippery or not. It feels like it could be slippery, but I'm not sure how it's going to actually play with when you actually play with it. All right, so the buttons themselves, like the thumb buttons, have some pretty good feedback to it. Some of the thumb buttons you find are mushy. Some of them are really hard to click, maybe even in the wrong spots. These seem like they're pretty big, so you can feel where you're at. Even if it is a slightly smaller or slightly bigger mouse, they're big enough to where you're not going to mistake it. The right and left click buttons seem okay. Hey, it's a mouse. I mean, what do you want? And the scroll wheel. The scroll wheel has a 16 set scroll wheel, and it feels pretty good. Like, some scroll wheels will be either too hard, or I've noticed on the version of the G502 scroll wheel that I have, it is a metal finish, which makes it slippery. So it's not exactly the smoothest scroll wheel. Like, I mean, it is not smooth. I shouldn't say smooth. It's sometimes slippery to scroll. This one is definitely not going to be that way. It's a rubberized wheel. So that's the unboxing of it. That's what the mouse looks like. But what we really care about is how it's going to play. So I don't know. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video in a week or two after I've used it for a while to see, hey, how is this actually going to play out? Is this going to be good for me? Is it going to be bad for me? Is it the right shape? Is it the right size? And again, you really have to do your research, because there's no store around, at least around me, there's no store to say, hey, you know, this is, let's go take a look at the Zowie mice and I'm going to feel which one's best for my hand. There's no store like that. So you have to do your research on, you know, hand size, size of the actual mouse compared to what you have now. And I made my best guesstimate on what would be the best one. The EC2-B is what I came up with. What do you guys think? Do you have the Zowie mice? Do you have the EC2-B? If you have another one, the FK line or the ZA line, let me know what you think and why you purchased that one, because I would love to know your guys' thoughts on the differences between the mouse. I read all the reviews, I read the websites, but it's what I care about is the real user information. So what's the real world information you guys have to share with us on how it actually plays? Again, I'll probably be back with a follow-up video to show how it plays. But until then, Big Daddy out.